All right. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Happy Monday. Jen, how are
Good.
you?
How are you?
Good. Do you know what this is?
No.
This is episode 250.
Oh, wonderful. That's exciting.
Yep. So we are almost at 5 years
Wow.
of this podcast,
That's
right?
insane.
Yeah. And episode 250 lines up pretty much with our birthdays, 250th celebration this summer. So I thought that was cool too. And that got me thinking about our country and small businesses and how important small business is to our country and why small businesses matter than I think a lot of people realize. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And I have a list of questions again because last week was fun the way that we did it. And I don't want to do every single episode the same, but I was like, you know what? This just works. Let's just roll with it.
I'm in.
So we'll do that. All right, cool. We always start with our
opening takes.
Let's get those going. You can go or
I can go. My opening take is off what I actually saw, I think a slew of them yesterday and the day before, is salon owners going to Facebook to basically give their story of a situation that happened in their salon. And it's all about their staff basically not complying, not doing what they're asked, all of these things. And it's about the staff doing it multiple times, like 5, 6, 7, 8. And then they're like, I'd love to hear your thoughts. At this point, as an owner, you know what to do. 5, 6, 7 problems in a row means this person is not a good fit in your salon. I don't see why you need a bunch of random people to make you feel better about it. Figure out a conversation of what you have when you let a team member go and have the conversation. Lead your team. And you don't need other people to co-sign. And if that's what you're doing, you need to work on some leadership, some mindset things to get to be a better leader so that you get out of these scenarios quicker than you already are. I don't know. Facebook to me is not the solution. That's all I got.
Can I push back just because it's fun? So I don't necessarily know if it's time to let the person go. And here's where I'm coming from. I've talked to people that have had issues like over and over with the same things and the same staff members. And I'll say, have you created a system that makes it easy for them? Have you explained why it's important to them? Have you figured out a way to find out why they're not complying? Is it too difficult? Do they not buy in, et cetera, et cetera? And oftentimes people are like, no, I haven't done that stuff. They should just know.
Well, then, dang, that's on the...
I don't think so. I don't think people should just know.
We say that all the time. Yeah, I guess make the steps first and then you know what to do if it doesn't, if it's not aligning, right?
Yeah, I think in the spirit of this episode being about small business, it's on you as the owner. If something's not working over and over again, it's on you. It's still on you, no matter how many times it doesn't work. That's just something that I think we both believe in. So my opening take is that, how do I word this? I think people are being made to think things are far more important than they truly are when it comes to their business. And what I'm talking about is something that I also see online, which is people begging for awards. Now, I don't want to be morbid, but if you're blessed enough to be spending your last moments with loved ones at the end of your days or however you want to look at it, I don't think that anybody is going to be like, remember that time your business won Best of Southern New Hampshire? I just think those things are silly. And you see all these people online begging for them, like, please vote for me, please. Oh, it means so much. Why? What does it mean? We're being tricked into thinking that this commercial, which is what it is, that you probably have to pay into, is important, and it's just not. And it's making people focus on the wrong things. And Jen, your salon won a bunch of stuff at your last salon. And what did it do for your business?
Nothing. It closed.
So
here's what I'll say. I do remember at the time thinking this plaque, it's not, clients aren't looking for what awards your salon won. Here's where I find it very interesting. For that salon, I don't remember what the award was, but we had to put in so much data from our salon and then pay to go into it and then pay for the plaque and blah, blah, blah. And really what that company was doing, it just wanted a bunch of data, and it got that from us. And then we got an award. But that award, like I said, clients aren't looking to be like, I wonder what awards that salon won.
I think the one you're talking about was top 200.
Yeah. Was that what it was? I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was, again, and it's a commercial. They're trying to farm data so that they can say, these are what the best quote unquote salons are doing. When you don't even know if that's true, because you don't even know if the quote unquote best salons are even entering your silly competition. So it's just the top 200 of the people that entered.
When you look at it like that too, it's such a small amount of salons. Like,
yeah, and I'm not saying don't do that stuff if it's fun for you. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. And when you look back someday, you're not going to remember that. That's not going to be what's important.
Yeah, agreed. I don't even have that plaque anymore, so I'm not even sure where it went.
The town wasn't even spelled correctly. So let's dive into this episode. I started thinking about this because of our country's birthdays, and I want to start by saying I don't believe for a second that our country is perfectly perfect. Our education, our healthcare, our infrastructure, those things need help, in my opinion, and they need someone to just overhaul them. Again, that's just my 2 cents. Where I think we do get things right is where we afford the people the right to pursue happiness. And capitalism is what gets us that. Anybody can own a business. Anybody can decide to own a business, and you don't have to ask for permission from the country, from the state. And while you might have to get a license or whatever, that's just to operate. But you don't have to ask for permission. Anybody can open a business. And it's not necessarily about the business ownership. The American dream isn't ownership. It's the opportunity. And again, I know people crap on capitalism for some reason. I know the reason. They want everything for free. But people trash capitalism. Capitalism isn't a guarantee of success. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to everyone that you can try. Mm-hmm. We allow you to try. We allow you to build something. And, you have to be able to separate those things. It's not a guarantee of you're going to become the next billionaire. It's a guarantee that you can try. And if enough people believe in what you're doing, you might get there. Mm-hmm. But again, it's on you.
Always.
All right, let's dive into the episode. I have questions. I don't know how many. I think there are 9, but we can run through them.
I'll do my best.
So, all right, I can answer first too, because I know this isn't fair, because I write the questions, figure out the questions, then I answer the questions, and then you're caught off guard.
I guess that's the
fun of it. I have however long to think about these answers and refine them, and you have 20 seconds. All right, the first one is why do small businesses matter? And I want to make it personally.
You can go first.
All right. I think that small businesses matter. And personally, I think speaking from our experiences building Hello Hair, I would say brought Jen and I closer together. It's something that is meaningful that we built together. And it allows me to learn about Jen, who is obviously my wife and business partner, in a different way. I get to see her problem solving in a business atmosphere. And I don't know if that's something that we would have got without small business or without doing it together. And obviously, we're unique because we're business not unique like it doesn't exist, but unique to our situation. I don't know a lot of husband and wives that own business together. I've heard of a handful, but yeah. So you wouldn't get what we have unless you have that situation. So it's allowed me to not only watch Jen grow as a business owner, but to watch myself grow. And it's given us a shared mission.
I love it.
Yeah.
I would agree. That's amazing. And I love, especially with Hello, because I didn't really do this at my last business at all, the community part that we get to give back. I love the volunteering we get to do at our school to raise money for the school. I love that we're volunteering. Our staff comes with us to give back to the plays and do the hair. And so that these students feel like they're a bit more part of a show than just doing their own hair and the makeup. That part of what we give as Hello and what our staff has bought into really, I feel, puts Hello Hair Co. on the map as a community part of the salon that's part of the community. Well, I couldn't get that out. And it's just
I had community and staff relationships in my notes too.
That part.
Yeah, I just didn't want to keep going. I was like, I'll let her answer. It's cool that we lined up on
that
this
part's
stuff.
really has become very important to me, and I love the give back aspect, and I love I'm doing this again, I'm being redundant. I love that the team buys into it and really sees what it's like to get out in the community. I see so many salons that are like, give back to your community, but they don't actually do anything. So we're showing this young generation of staff, that's our future, how to give back to the community, what that looks like, and how to be part of that. And the feelings that you get after these events are absolutely amazing. Everybody always comes off of them as a high and feels so grateful.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, the leadership and building those relationships with our staff and doing that through the community. And community is a huge part of small business. It's the pulse of our entire country. So, yeah. All right, let's move on. Okay. Why not, right? Question number 2. When you own a business, where does your money go? Or a better way to think about it, Jen, might be, what does business ownership allow you to influence?
Okay.
And my answer is, it's pretty simple. Every dollar that comes into your business is a vote that you get to cast. That's how I look at it. Where should we spend the money? What obviously we need products to provide our services. We need chemicals for coloring hair. We need scissors to cut hair. We need certain things. When you own a small business, money comes into your business and then it trickles out of your business. But you, as the owner, get to direct where it's going. So do we want to support the big box stores and distributors, or do we want to spend our money on a more local, more boutique distributor and work closer with them? That's obviously our choice. And if anybody's listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that we work with a smaller distributor, and we do that for a reason, because it's important to us. We're supporting people that we believe in. We believe in their mission. They've been to the owners of this distribution company. Shout out Sullivan Beauty. I'll just say them. They've been to our salon. They care. If we need something, they reach out. When we had our flood, they were there. They were like, if you guys need anything, just let us know. And they mean it. And so that is an important, special relationship. And that's something that you get to decide. And I'm not being critical if you are someone that's, I go to the big box stores. It's just easier for me. I place my order, whatever. I don't care. I'm not judging you for that, because those companies have a right to make money as well. And you have a right to spend your money where you think you should. But by choosing different vendors, by taking money from our profits and reinvesting it in our local schools, by donating our time and paying for products to raise money for the PTOs and all those things, that's a vote. You're voting on what you believe is important in your community and the surrounding communities. And I think that's pretty freaking special that you get to do that. And I don't know if enough people look at it that way from people that I've talked to rather. I think people just look at it as profit, and we're going to actually talk about profit. But a lot of people think that profit is bad, and we'll get into that too. I don't. I think the more profit you have, the more you can do, and the more hopefully good you can do, and the more votes you can cast to where you think needs support in your community.
Yeah, agreed. I love, for what we do, we talk all the time about education. It's so important to us. And we put our money where we say what we do. And we 100% fund the education that we bring in and send our staff to. We don't take money to put towards it. We're not like, we'll pay half. The stylist pays the other half. We fully invest in the team we have every year, and we take care of them, because their education, their growth is so important to the foundation of our business. And since it's a core value, it's what we stand for, it's part of our vision for the future for this staff, we make sure our profit goes into supporting the education for them. And it's all on us to do. And I love that we're able to do that for them.
Yeah, for sure. And we wouldn't be able to do that if there was no money.
Yeah.
That's where I get confused about people that are like, they're not trying to figure out profit, or they say that they just do it for the love of whatever, and that's any business. I've been in a lot of businesses. When I was in the gym industry, people would say all the time, I do this for free. I don't care. I'm doing it to help people. And that's a noble hill to die on. But the fact is you're going to die on it because your money's going to run out and then you're not going to be able to do anything. And money is one of the most powerful tools that we have for supporting the people and the ideas that we believe in.
Yeah.
It's just, it takes money to do things in our system. And if you can get money, then you can direct it where you want. And Jen said, education is huge. And that's something that's one of our votes, right? And we think it's important. All right. Question number 3, drum roll. I should get a drum roll sound effect. Has a small business ever changed the direction of your life?
Oh.
So it could be a job, a mentor, an opportunity, a chance somebody gave you. And I have mine.
Okay.
So I guess I can go. So mine was at a restaurant. I was given the opportunity to manage a restaurant way back in the day. And when that happened, I don't think the people that gave me the opportunity thought anything other than Todd can probably handle this job. But little did they know 20 something years later that it planted a seed. I remember going to other businesses to learn about different aspects of business so that I could help run the restaurant that I was running better. I remember getting books and reading about whatever it was that I was trying to figure out. I remember diving into figuring out things like food cost and math. I remember the first time that I was looking at credit card numbers and stuff and thinking, oh, wow, there's fees associated with taking payments. I remember all those first things. And without that, there might have never been my gym, which was Fortitude Fitness. There might never have been a Hello Hair. There might never have been me managing other restaurants and learning and entrepreneurship, and then where I am today. I think that if I didn't have that opportunity, I don't know where I would have been. I don't know which direction my life. It's kind of crazy to look back on, but I don't know if I would ever, like, maybe are we just drawn to what we're drawn to either way? The story's already written. I don't know. But it sure feels like that was the catalyst for everything. And it took years. I left the restaurant industry and went into the gym industry, left the gym industry, came into the hair industry, and here we are. So I would say that was an opportunity that I got that changed the direction of my life.
I love that.
And that's all from small business.
Mine's from restaurant also. It was my first restaurant job. And my life was a hot mess at the moment. But this is where I think I started, I would say, this asking for help and not worrying or not deciding what the answer would be before I asked for it. At the time, I was going back to UNH, which is where I went to school for a bit. And the restaurant I was working at had another restaurant near UNH. And I asked for help. Hey, going back to school, I need a job. And there's another restaurant there. And this was the manager of the restaurant. So it's intimidating. I was probably 19 years old, like whatever. And he literally took me under his wing and offered even different opportunities within the company to help me pay for school. He went out of his way, ended up putting me in this restaurant, which was great. And then the manager there took care of me also. And same thing, I went to him and I'm like, I need more shifts. I need to make more money. And I think there's a point in your life where you're like, I don't want to ask because what if they say no? And this is where I started this whole mentality of it just is not today if they say no, but let them say no. Why would I say no for them? And the manager of the restaurant there, he got me some shifts and got me to make some money. And through this, I started to be able to be more independent financially. And this drove me into leaving UNH and going to hair school. I'm like, I have this job, I can support myself and I can put myself through hair school. And it just made all these decisions. And prior to that, I was under my parents' wing. I had no idea what I was doing. But that led me through even my hair career. There was a time where I was at a salon and we lost power, and Todd and I both worked under the same roof. So we were out of work, and it ended up being a stretch of 10 days. I didn't know at the time. But I called a local salon owner and I was like, hey, I need a job. I need a place to rent a chair for a couple of days. And I remember Todd being like, you're going to call another salon? And I'm like, worst thing he could do is say no. And guess what? He's, yes, you can come. I have a chair here. If you want to rent it till your salon's back open, go ahead. But it started from that beginning of just my young self just asking, and then realizing that more often people do say yes. They're not always going to say no. It doesn't always mean a negative response, but letting them give you their decision, not deciding for them before you ask.
Yeah, that's really cool, Jen. I remember a lot of that stuff because I met you around that time. And so I think for people listening, I think that it's very difficult. So if you think back for your life, Jen, you were given an opportunity which led to working in a restaurant that I worked at.
That's how we met.
Means we met that way, and now we have a business together and 3 children. And that's crazy to think. And if you think back to my opportunity that I was given, no one would have ever thought that it would lead me to where I am. But it's because I dove into it. So for people listening, I think a lot of people out there underestimate the power of being handed a chance. When you get that opportunity, not to sound like Eminem over here, but don't let it go. You get, somebody gives you an opportunity, you never know where that's going to lead you. So take it seriously and respect it and really drive it and see where it takes you. Crazy thinking back. That's wild, Jen.
There we are.
All right, let's talk about profit, right? Let's do it. Why do so many people struggle with the idea of profit? Why does it get this negative view? And why do a lot of salon owners even avoid not only talking about it, but thinking about it? And I know that's something that you used to do at your last business. I think you guys would bury your heads in the sand a little bit, right? And not really plan for it.
Absolutely.
Because it's something that
didn't
you
know how.
plan for.
Lost.
Yeah. So that there was some questions that you needed to ask, right? You needed to ask someone for help. So I think part of it is a lot of owners of any business think profit will magically appear someday. They think that if they just, I have my fans of my product, right? And think about it in the hair, and let's talk about it in the hair industry. People get out there and they think, okay, I have my clientele and they love me. So I can be a business owner. I'm going to open my own salon, or I'm going to go rent a chair. And I'm going to price it based on something like location, right? I'll look around and I'll see what everyone else is charging and I'll just charge that. And I'll get more clients, or I'll get more staff, or I'll find more sales. And then profit's just going to magically pop up. Except it doesn't work that way. You have to be intentional with profit. You have to build it into your business. And there's a reason that businesses should profit. First one is sustainability. You're not going to be there. The number one reason businesses close is the money runs dry. You run out of money, you can't operate. You're done. So what are some other reasons that profit is good? I think you need to be paid for your risk. You're taking a risk. I'm betting. I'm making a bet on the future. We, for example, invest in our staff through education. We pay for that. What are we doing? We're making a bet, essentially. We're betting that person is going to stay with our company, believe in what we're doing, be a better hair pro because we've invested in them and they've taken that opportunity, hopefully seriously. And in the future, there's a reward on that. That's the way the system works. With profit, you can build more opportunity. If we didn't have money, we couldn't hire people to do different things that need to get done. We would be doing them all. And then we would be burning out, and then we would still have no money. And so I think just profit might not be your purpose, but without it, whatever your purpose isn't going to survive.
That was great. I would say,
do you have thoughts on why people
go ahead
struggle with it, or they're
what
so
you said is the assumption is you're going to open a business and you're just going to, the word I would use is make money. So if you want to make money, that word is profit. So I think there's like a disconnect there, right? I'm going to open my salon, and because I'm a busy stylist, I'm automatically going to make money. And you may make some in a paycheck, but what's left over is probably slim to nothing. And I think I go back to what you just said is you have to build it in. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't even know that was a thing. When we did in my last business a pricing structure, I just priced it randomly, like off wherever I was. I didn't look at it as, okay, this is what a service costs to do. This is what a stylist should make. And this is what the business should make. And look at that as a whole when I was doing our service pricing. I had definitely an accountant at the time, but not one that I had a relationship with that I could go and say, hey, how do I do this? What does this look like? Fast forward with Hello, we hired a different accountant that we meet with, and we can ask these questions like, how do we make more profit? What does this look like? How do we get the salon at a level of where we want it to be? But I really think it comes down to, in the salon world, people open a business and just assume they're going to, again, make money. And you've got to define what that make money is for you. Is it just your paycheck from the clients you work on? Or is it what comes out of the business at the end of the week, the month, the year? And then what are you doing with that money? Those are two different things.
So I just made a note that profit is not your services. So a lot of people that go off and work for themselves, you work for yourself. You don't necessarily have what I would call a business.
You work for a paycheck.
And I'm not knocking it. I think it's great. Yeah. If you go and you booth rent, you cannot scale that in any sort of way. You can't make money when you're not there providing the services. So a lot of people will say, I'm making more money, but it's not necessarily profit. It's your money from
the services you
providing the services. It's the money that you have traded your time for. And it's not the same thing as having money left over beyond that at the end of the day that you can then take and invest, whether it's for your retirement or invest in creating an opportunity for somebody else or invest in anything, giving back to the community. It's really difficult to give back to the community when it's coming out of your paycheck.
Right.
That's why profit needs to exist. Profit is a healthy reward for creating value, assuming risk, and carrying all of the responsibilities that comes with that. And profit is also what allows you to create opportunities. An unprofitable business is going to run out of chances eventually.
Yeah.
That's just the way.
I think one time we were mentoring or on a mentoring call or something. I forget who it was with. And we were talking about profit with this person. And basically, do you want your salon to still be open in a couple years? And they were like, of course I do. Well, if you're not profitable and you're not making enough money that's worth it, you're going to close. So if you don't make these changes, you are not going to have a business to serve that community that's so important to you that it, what do they say, tugs on your heartstrings. There's so many people that open a business, I just want to do everything for everyone and I want to give back. But if you aren't still standing in years to come, you can't do that. And you need profitability in order to keep doing that. And you have to look at it as a business so then you can do the things that make you feel good about helping people.
Agree, 100%. The other word I wanted to throw in there real quick for people is hope. Hope is not a strategy when it comes to profiting. And eventually, if hope is your strategy, you're going to be disappointed at some point because your money's going to run out. Not to get into inflation or anything like that too, but I think businesses learned that word and they learned the term supply chain through the pandemic. And when inflation went crazy, they were like, oh, we have to raise our prices. We haven't raised our prices. And then there were these massive jumps that needed to happen. And then everybody stressed out. And yeah, you have to build that in. That should be built in. It should be, your stuff should be increasing yearly to combat that. And it's just part of running a business. It's not bad. You need to do it. All right, let's talk about responsibility because this is a big one. What responsibility comes with owning a small business? So obviously a small business, owning a small business can, if you figure it out, give you freedom. But there is a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And that's something that Jen talks about, even with our staff a lot of time, because we offer a lot of freedom, but it's freedom with responsibility. And I think that a lot of people, or at least people that we've spoken with in the past, business owners think, I'm the owner and it's just going to work out. And I'm just going to be successful because I own the business. The act of owning the business isn't going to do anything for you. There's a lot of responsibilities. Your responsibility falls into your employees. You're responsible for their paychecks. That money needs to be there. You're responsible for your clients. You're responsible for vendors, paying them and having a relationship with them and how you want to spend your money with them and all that stuff. You're responsible for creating opportunities for people. You're responsible for, or you need to be responsible with your resources, which includes money. So if you're irresponsible with money, you're probably not going to do very good at business ownership. Jen, we know people that are like that. And you're responsible for your community, whether you believe it or not. When you talk about voting, Jen, when you open a business and your community is coming in for your services or your products or your food or whatever you're selling, they're voting. They're saying, I like this. I want more of this. I want this place to succeed. So I'm going to give it money. You're responsible for that. Don't be the person that has to go on Facebook and be like, to our dear customers, we have to close because we couldn't figure it out. And I'm not saying that's not going to happen. There are some times where there are circumstances that just are beyond our control and you get hit one too many times and you can't stand up again. And that's fine. Not everyone is going to make it. That's part of the equation. You're given the opportunity to try. And like I said, when you were given an opportunity, like when I was given the opportunity to manage that first restaurant, you got to run with it. You got to do everything in your power. And if you're not willing to take on that responsibility, you're likely not going to be successful. Or I would argue there's no way you can possibly be as successful as someone that's putting in the effort.
Right. I would say a responsibility that I guess I've grown into and now take very seriously and realize it's worth being responsible about is first the growth for the staff. That was something I didn't understand how to create. My last salon, we just had 9 levels. So I never thought that a stylist would look at when I get to level 9, there's nothing beyond it. And if you got to level 7, you're like, I'm almost capped out here. So you're going to start looking elsewhere. I never thought to create an open-ended non-tier system that basically says you can grow as much as you want. The longer you stay here, the busier you get. We will get you here or here. You can get to where I'm at, and showing them by me being there that they can be there and then that they could be past me. Those opportunities, I think, are hard for a lot of people in leadership positions, and realizing that the growth strategy for each individual stylist really was so important to show them the path, and show them the path is even further than they can see, right? That to me was amazing. And a lot of our staff does comment on that. They never thought they'd be where they are today. And then they're like, whoa, where am I going to go? And they don't even have to think about it. They have us. We at the class I was just at on Monday, which reminds me, they were talking about pricing or whatever. And we were majority of this class. I think we brought 10 of our staff there. And she was asking some questions, and she had called on one of our staff, and they go, I don't know, we have Jen. And they're right. They have Jen and Todd, and they don't have to worry about how things are priced or how they're going to make money or what this looks like. So I quickly went through what we do, and she was like, oh, that's amazing. And the staff just trusts us and understands that we have their best interests all the time for this growth mindset. We will always make sure that they're going further. And then the next responsibility that I found maybe equally as important was the ability to communicate and have hard conversations with staff as soon as possible when things arrive. I would avoid that at all costs because it was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable for me. It was uncomfortable for them. I didn't want them to be mad at me. And at the end of the day, the way I look at it now is when we have to have hard conversations, it's 10 times out of 10 an action that they did. So they deserve the hard conversation. I don't feel bad about it. It's my job. It's my job to keep them on track for their goals. It's my job to keep them on track for Hello Hair Co. systems. And they need to change their ways so these conversations stop. And then there's a conversation to be had if that continues. Those two for me really have changed in, I feel, the culture of Hello Hair Co. and for me as a leader. And when you do those things, automatically, when you have the right team, there's just a mutual respect for you as a leader and a trust in what you're doing.
I like the responsibility discussion. It's pretty cool. We talked about profit being the reward for the risk. I think responsibility is the price of ownership. So, yeah. And you're responsible for, there's a lot. There's a person behind every payroll. There's a person behind every opportunity that you're able to build and every chance that you're able to give. And again, go back to what we were talking about in the beginning, Jen, with you never know where a chance or an opportunity is going to lead you in your life. So it's crazy to think about. And small businesses are a great, amazing way to do all these things and be able to do this for people. Selfishly, it feels good. That's why I do it. Because it's not easy. Be easier to quit and close and not have to worry about anything. All right, let's move on. Question number 6 is, what opportunity are you most proud of creating? So for me, this was like a 2-part thing that kind of all works together, or maybe even 3 parts. But my first thing is our culture. So what we've built, I would say, is pretty special at Hello. And it's kind of hard to explain. And I think that's why people struggle with culture. Every single person that you talk to is going to say, we have the best culture. We're like family here. That's what everyone says. But what does that mean? How do you quantify that? And when you look at our culture, it's something that protects itself. When there's a problem, that problem is usually, it's identified fairly quickly by Jen and I. It's always funny when someone brings something to us and we're like, we already know this, but go off. But the culture takes care of itself. If there's someone that's not a good fit, and that does happen, they usually weed themselves out. They're not able to get in and destroy. We had somebody that one time was just not a good fit. And I'll just tell the story real quick. And what they did was they started this big text chain and they were trying to get the staff, right? This is like how the cancer spreads in your business. This one toxic employee. They were trying to get the rest of the staff to buy into what they were saying. Do you know what the staff did? They brought the text chain to us and said, look at what this person's doing. I don't know how to deal with this, and I don't want to deal with this. And a lot of people said in this text chain, why don't you just go to Jen and Todd? They're really easy to talk to. And if you have a problem, they're going to try to fix it. And so anyway, like that is something that I am proud of. It's something that I think it takes a lot of hard work, and I can't really get into it because we'd be here for 17 hours talking about it. But that is something that you can build where your culture takes care of itself. And I'm proud of that. The second part is education. I know Jen touched on education. It's just that big of a deal. And part of that is our apprenticeships program. And that is obviously under you, Jen. We're expanding it now, but helping people become more than they were before. So somebody comes in and they want to learn, or somebody comes in and they've already done hair for a few years or whatever. We want to get them to the next level. How do we get you beyond that? And that is creating growth, creating a future for them that they can see and that we can explain, and that it's tangible, it's real. I can actually get you there. I think those things are what I'm most proud of creating at Hello.
Love it.
And the culture one is big. That doesn't happen by accident. That's another thing that you have to plan. I use the word nudge with people all the time because you're not going to go in and do a complete quote unquote culture overhaul of your business. Nobody's going to be into that. But by starting out with, here's our mission, here's our vision, here are our core values, and here's how we make decisions here. And by sharing that with our staff and by sharing, this is how money works. We never have money issues at our salon with staff. Never. It doesn't come up. It is it's not something that comes up. We never have somebody that's, hey, I don't agree with this. Or we never have somebody that's, I want a higher commission or whatever. They understand already how it works. They understand how they can get ahead. And all they have to do is have a conversation with us. And if the time is right, we'll get them there. And if the time is not right, we will literally lay out a path of how to get them there. So that's what I'm proud of.
Yeah, those are all great. I guess I would say short and sweet here. The education plan that we have that's individual for each person, the training that goes behind that, I've taught for so long, and where we are now and what I can do with an individual and get them to where I need them to be, and I can do it in such a quick time period is really impressive to me. You see all the time, I do on different social media platforms, assistants that are assisting for a year and a half and finally getting on the floor. And I love how I'm able, right now, pretty much 3 months or less, I can get someone out of school on our floor taking clients while still working with them, but I can get them up and running so quickly if they just listen, buy in, and absorb everything, which they do because we find the right people. And they are so ahead of anyone else that came out of their class, and they don't even understand how they got there. They just are here to learn. The newest edition we have coming on, she had just messaged me recently.
That's how
she found us. And just recently was like,
she was following somebody else, and she said, I saw how fast and how far this person has come. And I was like, I want in on that.
And then after that, she had seen something else I had done, a haircut video, and she was like, I cannot wait to learn from you. And it's so amazing to have this generation that people say is not motivated, doesn't want to do anything. And the people we find, or the people that come under our leadership, they're so excited and they see, or they trust the process, and we're able to get them so ahead in their career so fast. It's so amazing. So the education, hands down, is my most proud.
It's cool when you can demonstrate the opportunity and not just say potential for future growth. That's such a corporate, stagnant way to say opportunity. And again, when we demonstrate, like, we're demonstrating what we do, and we don't do a ton of social media stuff, but what we do put out shows actually creating, and it matches. If you come into our salon, everything that we say that we're doing, we're actually doing. And that's a big part of it too, because you need to operate with integrity. If you're saying all these things to get people to work for you, but you're not actually following through, shame on you.
Right.
All right. Question number 7. I think we only have 2 more. It's a big episode, but it deserves it. Episode 250. We're celebrating. We should have had, it's morning time. I was like, we should have had champagne or something. I don't really like champagne. What would we lose if small businesses disappeared? And not just talking about money or the economy, but more like on the human side. If small businesses disappeared altogether and everything was run by big box corporate giant companies, what would we lose as people? My answer was identity. So I think it goes back to our opportunity and the chance that we have in our country, at least, to build something. We have the opportunity to pursue happiness. Don't like how something's done? Create a way to make it better. If enough people buy into it, you'll be rewarded. You also have the opportunity, which I think we're doing at Hello, I don't want to sound like that's not coming from ego place, but it's hard work, and we're doing it, is you have the opportunity to create something that's bigger than yourself. We have people at our salon that will just, Brooke, she'll just show up. She's just there. She's just hanging out. What do you need? You guys need something? Someone needs to learn something. I can teach them. Can I teach them that? She's just there. You guys need furniture put together. You guys need whatever. We have people because they believe in it and they want to be part of it, and they see that it's special. And I think that's really cool. And I think without small businesses, you would lose that identity. Who would want to go to a big box place where you don't even know who the manager is? There's a regional manager and all these things. Again, I'm not saying big box places aren't valuable. They are. They can, if you need something for a lower price, they often have the buying power to provide that to you. And I'm not taking away from that. I think both need to exist. But small business is where it's at for your personality, for your sense of belonging, for who you are, for freedom, and I guess possibility. You have the opportunity to build these things, and that's giving you a possibility. That's giving you hope for my future is going to be better than if I didn't do this.
Yeah. I have a few just simple words. I would say we're going to lose creativity, originality, innovation of just what you could do if you were under having to create things. I think that part would get lost pretty quickly. Short and simple.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. All right, let's move on then. This one is a little, I think we kind of answered some of this stuff already, but we'll just jump into it. If you find yourself in the position to own a small business, what responsibilities do you have to that opportunity? So my answer was, you have to ask yourself where your effort is actually going. So a lot of owners, and we see this in every business, but a lot of salon owners that we've talked to, Jen, you can help me out with this, is they are busy, but they're not necessarily looking into where their time and effort is best served. So a lot of business owners think, all right, I'm going to go in and I'm going to clean the salon, and that's going to help. And they spend the day cleaning the salon, and then I'm going to place the orders, and that's going to help. What you're not, if you pull back and you look at the macro view of your business, what you're doing is work that anybody could do. And you're avoiding the work that only the owner can do. Only the owner can have the difficult conversations, unless you have a manager, right? I mean, whatever. Only the owner can steer the ship and decide where the business is going. That might be taking the money and directing it where it needs to go. Only the owner can really do the marketing and decide what that looks like. So you have this work that, yes, needs to get done. Yes, the bathrooms need to get cleaned. Yes, the stations and the mirrors need to get cleaned. But it doesn't have to be by the owner. And I think that people need to be more intentional at finding the work that compounds and more honest with themselves about where their time and effort are going. Because I've talked to a lot of owners and tried to help people that are like, I'm so busy, or talk to owners that are just straight up, I don't even know what to do. I don't know what I should be doing. What am I supposed to do? And it's, again, you have to, that's difficult, right? Because we're human beings and we have ego, and it's difficult to assess yourself in that way and be like, what have I been missing for the last 5 years? Am I really putting in the effort that this deserves? Having a small business is it's a blessing. We're allowed to do that again in this country. Episode 250, shout out. I can't say it enough. Like, we're so fortunate to be able to just be like, you know what, I'm going to open a bakery, and you can just go do that. Doesn't mean you're going to succeed, but ask yourself, like, do I really have what it takes? Do I know how to bake? Do I know how to run with a profit? Do I know how to best serve the community? How am I going to deliver these baked goods? Like, have you put time and effort into what does this actually look like? And what responsibilities do I have that come with that opportunity? And being busy and building a business is not the same thing. And I know a lot of people think that. A lot of people are like, I'm behind the chair, so I'm just busy. That's not building a business. That's just working your job. Those are two different things. Both are okay.
I would say the responsibility that I find is lacking the most when someone opens a small business is the growth. Again, we're repeating, I know, but the growth opportunity for your staff. What are you going to do to get them ahead of you, better than where they are? What does that look like? And I think often enough there's a miss there. You're just like, they're just going to go do some work. We're all going to charge the same prices. We're all the same here. You're not offering them anything. And why should somebody come work for you if you're doing the same thing every other business is doing. What sets you apart, and what are you going to do that helps your staff get where they need to be or further than they can even see as quick as possible? That's your job or responsibility that I would take to heart and focus on.
That's good stuff. All right, episode 250. I think that's a wrap. Let's do one more quick question, Jen. If somebody is a year from now listening to this episode, what would you like them to get out of it? Because I think this is an episode that is like evergreen content. This will hold up. It's not just today. This will be forever.
I would say when you're opening a business, understand what your role is as a leader and what that looks like to lead a business. Often I feel someone comes into it and their mindset is still in the employee mindset, right? They're not focused on what that looks like as a leader. And you're going to need to read some books, hire some people, do whatever it is to understand how to wear that leadership hat and how to lead a team in a way that, again, it gets them not just where they feel they need to be, beyond that so they can see a future. That's your job.
I love that. For me, it's hope. At the end of the day, I think that's what small businesses create is hope. It's that risk. It's that I hope for a better future. I hope for a new opportunity, a career, a family, a dream, a community, all that stuff. I hope I can help make all that stuff better. And going back to, I think our, not title, but the first thing I said, why small businesses matters. Small businesses matter because they give ordinary people like you and me an opportunity to build something extraordinary.
It's awesome.
All right, episode 250. Thanks for listening. Sorry, I was like easy in there a bit. I just love this stuff. I love talking about it, and I think it's cool. And if more people would just take their opportunities seriously and dive in there, you never know what's going to happen. You could be married to your business partner and have 3 kids from working on the Super 99 20, 30 years. When was that?
A long time ago.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everyone.